Kakbhushundi arrived under the banyan tree, settled down, and then reflected for a moment. The story of Sri Ram, he thought, was a mirror of life itself. Joyful and celebratory events were followed by sad and tragic ones. Moments of laughter and elation were soon replaced by those of pain and dejection. Yet through it all, one thing remained constant, and that was the equipoise and loving disposition of Sri Ram. It is a constant reminder to us that while going through the varied experiences of life, we must be able to quickly regain our balance through devotion and surrender to Bhagwan. Love for Bhagwan is the anchor that keeps the boat of the mind afloat despite the tempests raging around. Then, mentally prostrating to Sri Ram, Kakbhushundi began his story. Several happy years went by with Sri Ram as king and Sita Devi as queen. Then one day, an individual raised the suspicion of Sita Devi's purity, and that suspicion slowly gained ground. Sri Ram was overwhelmed with sorrow when he came to know about this doubt in the mind of his subjects. Remember, Sri Ram was not just a husband, he was also a king, and his subjects, as we have already seen, represented his altar of worship. And if those he worshipped harbored such a doubt, then everything else was meaningless. He could not bear people to talk about their queen in this way. It was simply not befitting. Sri Ram knew that if he sent Sita Devi away, he would always be condemned by people, especially since Sita Devi was pregnant. But he was willing to accept that condemnation so long as Sita Devi's character was not maligned. Lakshman was instructed to take Sita Devi to the forest and to leave her near the ashram of Rishi Valmiki. This description of Kakbhushundi was met with shrieks of grief from the audience. The birds could not contain their horror and pain at hearing this. But Kakbhushundi quickly put an end to these reactions. Remember, he said, when we talked about Ram Rajya, we saw how Sri Ram considered his praja or his subjects as his altar of worship. Those were not empty words. He lived by that principle and thereby demonstrated to all future kings and rulers that a leader does not have a right to personal happiness if it causes grievance or sorrow to his people. Then, continuing with the story, Kakbhushundi said that Rishi Valmiki looked after Sita Devi as his own daughter. Love and Kush, the twin sons of Sri Ram and Sita Devi, were born in Rishi Valmiki's ashram, and both received the best education from the Rishi. He taught the boys archery, the Vedas, music, and other skills. He also taught them both the whole Ramayana, which used to be sung in the homes in Ayodhya even at that time. The two young boys learnt it and would then go and sing it in different homes in Ayodhya. No one knew their identity. They had been told by the Rishi that if questioned, they were to say that they were the disciples of Rishi Valmiki. Finally, even Sri Ram came to hear of them, and they were invited to sing before him. Ram did not know that they were his sons, nor did the young boys have any inkling of their real identity. Kakbhushundi saw the tears in the eyes of the sparrow and the parrots. He noted the crestfallen looks of the bulbul and some other birds seated right in front of him. So he said gently, "We must remember that although at the human level this seems cruel, we have already seen that Sri Ram and Sita Devi are avatars, and even though they are spoken of as two individuals, they are in fact just one. Sri Ram is Paramatma and Sita Devi is the creative potential or Maya Shakti with which Ishvara manifests the whole world. What Sri Ram was showing everyone through this Leela was the dharma of a king. What a high ideal of leadership he established. For a leader to sacrifice personal happiness and his own loved ones for the ideal that he has dedicated himself to requires the greatest spiritual strength. And such strength only comes from the highest spiritual knowledge. It is not for ordinary people. To live a life of dharma implies tyag or renunciation. Doing what is right is more important than doing what I like or what pleases X, Y, and Z. And remember, said Kakbhushundi, Sri Ram never married again. Today, no one doubts Sita Devi's chastity. People continue to question Sri Ram, but they never speak ill of Sita Devi. So Ram ensured that Sita's name would remain forever without any blemish. The birds felt better after hearing this explanation, although it was not easy to understand. It required a lot of reflection. But then they had the greatest faith in all that Kakbhushundi said. Sri Ram was not an ordinary man, and they were judging him by the standards of one. Then, said Kakbhushundi, the time had come for Sri Ram to conclude his avatar. He called all the citizens of Ayodhya to the banks of the river Sarayu. There he gave each one whatever he or she desired. And then Sri Ram reassumed his true nature, that of the all-pervading Supreme Lord who dwells invisible in the heart of all. As for Sita Devi, she had emerged from the earth and she returned to it. In other words, she too regained her true nature. Their sons Lava and Kush eventually became kings and had descendants. In the same way, Bharat, Lakshman and Shatrughan also had two sons each. Kakbhushundi paused for a few moments. There was stillness and silence all around. Then he asked, "Has this story evoked in you love for Sri Ram? Do you learn to listen to more and more of the story? If yes, then the story has achieved its purpose." No one in the audience moved, for everyone was experiencing a most exalted state. After what seemed a long time, Kakbhushundi got up and flew away. The rest of the birds followed in silence.